Hey, I have many questions and comments and emails with questions that go like, how can I unblock? Or when I start speaking, I just feel I don't have breath. When I get stuck, when I stutter, my breathing stops. So what can we do about it? How can we unblock? How can we remove speech impediments? Let's talk about it. Stay tuned. So the first tip I want to talk about is our speech impediment begins with the first sound. Oftentimes, the struggle comes not in the first sound. It's somewhere in the middle of the phrase, maybe. But anyway, it all starts with the first sound. And let's take a couple phrases. So the first phrase, I want to say, what time and where do we meet tomorrow? Maybe you're at work and you want to ask your colleagues. Maybe you're at school and you want to ask your class, or you're at the conference, workshop, whatever. So you raise your hand, you wait for your turn, and then go. What time clearly can create for many of us, for many people who stutter, struggle. What and where do we need? Do we need to meet? So there are several places where we can feel the struggle, where we can feel the problem. So my general suggestion is to work on the first sound. That's where we want to grab the airflow, create the airflow for our speaking piece. And then we want to relaunch it and go with the next speaking piece. So a great exercise is to get tense and relax, giving yourself time. This is not speaking yet. This is just an exercise, feeling that, dismantling that first sound. So what time? We go. We relax and then put power back. Then you want to play with it, making it shorter, closer to our natural speaking. So we go, what time? What time? So we release tension because when we stutter, when we anticipate stuttering, actually, we get tense. We get into the stuttering mode, into the stuttering state. So with this exercise, we turn that tension into relaxation, into putting power into our speaking. And tension, it can be a good thing because tension creates energy. So in this exercise, we transform that tension into energy. We say, what time? What time? So, what time and where do we meet tomorrow? Another phrase that I suggest to play with is, actually, I don't know where we meet tomorrow. You say, actually, and with I, already we might feel the struggle. I don't know where. Again, where we meet also might be difficult. So in this case, actually, or it can be by the way, or to be honest, I. So we oftentimes tend to put some filler words like, because actually they don't require much airflow. We kind of go down the hill. But then eventually we get to the point where we need the airflow, the air for the main thing. Like actually, I. For I, we already don't have that airflow. So again, in this case, we also want to start with the first sound, actually. actually, I don't know where we meet tomorrow. So we want to create a powerful airflow for the whole phrase rather than go actually and stop the airflow. Not having any airflow for I don't know where we meet tomorrow. So the first step, we want to launch the first sound and create the airflow for the whole speaking piece. If we interrupt the airflow, like actually, I don't know where we meet tomorrow, that's also not a problem, but in this case, we want to treat that second piece as a separate piece that we still want to launch with the first sound. Actually, I don't know where we meet tomorrow. So I don't know where we meet tomorrow. Ideally want to say it in one go. If we don't have the air for that, I don't know where we meet tomorrow. So where we meet tomorrow, it's a separate speaking piece that we also want to launch the same way. The second tip that I want to share is we want to play with breathing exercises to increase the capacity of our airflow. How long can we speak, can we say, can we go in one airflow? And a good exercise is to stay on the words, on the sounds that are the connecting sounds in that phrase. Like, what time and where do we meet tomorrow? There are three pieces, probably, right? So what time is the connecting word. So what time and where is the second connecting word, and where do we meet tomorrow? So we want to play staying on those words for a long time, feeling that we still have enough air, and then go to the next piece, connecting them together. So we'll go, what time and where do we meet tomorrow? My favorite breathing exercise is just singing. When you sing properly, you get to your belly breathing, you utilize the diaphragm muscles, you develop those muscles big time. You can Google or search YouTube for singing exercises. I'm also giving links in my free improve program to those exercises. There are many of them, how you can develop the diaphragm muscles to be able to say more. Actually, I've been taking a singing class like once in 2 weeks for 2 years now. Not many classes I've taken, but I see a huge change in my capacity, ability to say a phrase in one breathing out. And if you're part of Free From Stutter Facebook group, I'm giving here the link to my live where I recorded the singing exercises that I do in my singing class. So it would be great if you could take a look and try some of that. Actually, you don't need to be sophisticated. You can go just with singing anything or just staying again longer in some sound like doing that several times, not once, so that it's like a muscle, like a workout. You need to do that several times to feel that you're developing your diaphragm muscles. But again, if you want to take a look at different exercises, like the real singing exercises that I absolutely love, please click the link and get to that live stream that I made in our Free From Stutter Facebook group. Now, tip number 3 is probably the most important one. And that is the truth that there is no way to just use those tricks in real life. One of the latest comments I received is that it went like this: I practice before the phone call. I do exactly the same thing. I say what I want to say and I go fluently. I even practice I do it trying with my hand technique. Sorry, I don't know how you try with your hand technique, but that's the comment, okay? And then the phone call happens and I completely forget everything and I get stuck. So how do I bring it there to my phone call, real life phone call? And the tip number 3 is we want to use our training speech. You want to have your training speech that you consistently apply in your real life. Launching your first sound, relaxing, putting power there, being expressive. I'm preaching about using the hand technique, which gives us support, which synchronizes all the speaking processes. So it's pretty much like tip number 1. We want to start with the first sound. Actually, I don't know. So the struggle that we feel, the difficulty we feel at I don't know, begins with actually. Because if actually is flat and shallow and down the hill and we don't put anything there and we're tense, we'll feel that difficulty with I don't know. If you go actually I don't know, you've created the airflow for I don't know. It goes easier. Or if you go actually I don't know, you create that airflow for I as a separate speaking piece. But anyway, we want to launch it and it begins way before we really feel the difficulty. The same goes for our speaking. Your confident phone call begins long before the phone call. When you're using your training speech with your friends, with your family, with the strangers. So if you're using your, training speech, 1% of your whole everyday speaking, 2%, 5%, and 95% you're using your everyday, your usual, your current speaking pattern, your stuttering speaking pattern. That's what you get. That's what you have. There is no way to flip the switch and to go from one speaking pattern to the other. You want to stick, you want to be consistent with your training speech. If you're not consistent, if there is no consistency with your training speech in your comfort zone, then you can't apply it in a more stressful setting. So tip number 3, you want to create, you want to master, you want to develop the training speech, and that's a huge topic if you want to get deeper into how we create that training speech, how we move step by step, because again, it's not easy. It's building a relationship with that training speech, making it comfortable to use in real life, and it's never will never get into total comfort. It's always a certain challenge because it's always a bit more power, it's a bit more expression, a bit more relaxation in there, a bit more, which is different. Everything which is different to our current speaking pattern is a challenge. Even though we say that it's just restoring the inner structure of your speaking, it's natural, we're just putting more power, we're just being more expressive, it's something different. If you want to go deeper into how can we grow and develop and master that training speech, you're absolutely welcome to my free Improve program. You can find the link down below this video. And yeah, would be great to see you there. And thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done that before for more interaction and for those singing exercises that I promised you. join Free From Stutter Facebook group. There is also a link down below this video. And see you in the next video.